Okay, good day class. So, welcome to our lesson for today. So, for today we are going to be talking about anxiety disorders. So, before we talk about anxiety disorder, it is important for us to understand kung ano nga ba ang ibig sabihin ng anxiety. So, anxiety is a multi-dimensional concept involving somatic, experiential, and interpersonal phenomena. So, what do we mean by that? So, pag sinabi nating multi-dimensional concept, it means it is all-encompassing. Malawak yung sakop niya. So, anxiety can involve our somatic system, meaning our nervous system, yan ano, yung experiential natin or experiences natin, pwede rin maka-apekto yan in causing anxiety and even some interpersonal phenomena. Okay? So, anxiety manifests as uneasiness of the mind. Okay? So, parang restless ka, heightened tension, apprehension, and even inexpressible dread. So, meaning if you are feeling anxiety, you feel uneasy, you feel restless, okay? So, tensionado ka, okay? Apprehensive ka, irritable ka, okay? And you have that feeling of dread, no? Yung feeling of dread na yun, that is known as the fear of the unknown. So, yun yung nangyayari sa atin whenever we feel anxiety. For example, halimbawa, you're going to be taking an examination, pero feeling mo, kulang yung inaaral mo, so kabado ka, okay, di ba? Uneasy ka, tensionado ka, you're feeling anxious. So, technically speaking, anxiety is a normal feeling. Okay? So, normal na nangyayari yan sa mga day-to-day life natin. So, there's nothing to worry about when you are feeling anxiety. Unless that it is a prolonged anxiety. Kasi pag prolonged anxiety na yan, okay, ang tawag na natin doon is anxiety disorder. So, anxiety disorder is a group of conditions characterized by excessive, okay, sobra-sobra na anxiety leading to behavioral, emotional, cognitive, and physiological responses. And like any other mental disorder, okay, pag ito nakakaapekto na sa ating pang-araw-araw na pamumuhay, it's already impairing our social life, it's already impairing our day-to-day functioning, such as occupational functioning natin, then that is considered to be as an anxiety disorder. Okay? So, what are the probable cause? So, meron kasi tayo iba't ibang klase ng anxiety, ano? So, but universally speaking, there are similarities kung ano yung cause ng bawat ng anxiety disorder. So, isa-isahin natin. So, ano ba yung mga probable cause? Una, there is biopsychosocial factors. So, a combination of biological and psychological and social factors that can actually cause an anxiety disorder. So, pag biological, pwede tayong nagkakaroon tayo dyan ng neurochemical imbalances sa mga neurotransmitters natin. For example, imbalance in serotonin and norepinephrine. Sometimes naman, there is a genetic predisposition, meaning pwedeng mamana or hereditary ang anxiety disorder. Pag psychological naman, possible, meron tayong traumatic experiences during our childhood. Let's say, for example, halimbawa, na-experience mo na ikaw ay muntikan ng masagasaan nung bata ka. So, that is a traumatic experience. So, every time natatawid ka ng karsada, you're feeling very a heightened anxiety. Parang ganun na. And also, maladaptive coping mechanisms. Di ba? Pinag-aralan na natin yung mga defense and coping mechanisms natin. Pag ang coping mechanism mo is ineffective or you lack coping mechanism in a certain situation, you might feel anxiety that can lead to an anxiety disorder. When it comes to social life naman, stressful life events or lack of social support. Let's say for example, very common, namatayan, di ba? So, pag namatayan ka, that is very stressful. Okay? So, pag wala kang proper coping mechanism, that can lead to anxiety. Okay? Or even anxiety disorder. And of course, yung lack of social support. Yung wala kang support system. For example, nag-iisa ka lang sa buhay, tapos merong major event na nangyari sa buhay mo, tapos walang tao dyan na pwedeng sumuporta sa'yo, umalalay sa'yo, then it can lead to anxiety, leading to anxiety disorder. So, yun yung biopsychosocial factors natin. There's also some theories that claims kung ano yung mga causes ng anxiety disorder. You have your psychodynamic theory wherein it is stating that kaya tayo nagkakaroon ng anxiety disorder kasi meron tayong unresolved internal conflicts before. Okay? Kung maaalala nyo, we've discussed several theories regarding the different stages ng buhay natin. So, for example, yung psychosocial theory ni Erik Erikson, let's say, one of the stages doon or one of the conflict doon, hindi mo na-resolve, possible in the long run, pwede kang magkaroon ng anxiety disorder. Behavioral theory naman, learned responses from pairing neural stimuli with fear-inducing experiences. So, similar ito doon sa childhood traumas natin, possible na naka-experience ka ng trauma before, na naka-apekto sa iyong day-to-day life na pwedeng mag-cause ng anxiety disorder. So, those are just some of the possible causes bakit nagkakaroon tayo ng anxiety disorder. Okay, now let's talk about the different types of anxiety. So, maraming klase ng anxiety, from generalized anxiety disorder, you have your OCD, you have your phobias, you have your PTSD. So, iba-iba klase yan. So, pag-uusapan natin sila isa-isa, So, unahin natin yung generalized anxiety disorder. So, generalized anxiety disorder, ito siguro yung parang pinaka-basic kind ng anxiety disorder. Kasi when you talk about anxiety disorder, ito yung usually na naiisip natin, yung generalized anxiety disorder. So, what is generalized anxiety disorder or yung GAD? So, GAD is characterized by chronic, excessive, and uncontrollable worry about various aspects of daily life. So, yun na yun, So, when a person is feeling anxiety that's considered to be heightened or excessive, and it is already chronic, paulit-ulit, pabalik-balik, na hindi na niya makontrol. For example, anxiety sa work, anxiety sa health, anxiety sa family. Let's say, halimbawa, sa work, he is feeling anxious whenever na ipapatawag siya ng boss niya. Okay, na to the point na nadidisrupt na yung kanyang trabaho. Sa health niya, for example, may nararamdaman siya na minor naman, pero hina-heighten niya. So, then, he feels anxiety. Sa family, yan. Madalas mangyari yan sa family. Lalo na pag hindi maganda yung relationship natin sa kapamilya natin. Then, pwede na natin siya makonsider na anxiety disorder for at least 6 months na ganun yung nangyayari. So, unlike normal anxiety, the intensity and persistence of worry in God are disproportionate to the situation. So, it means that hindi siya kagaya ng normal anxiety natin na yung anxiety na nararamdaman mo depende dun sa intensity nung nung trigger, okay, or nung cause ng anxiety mo. Proportionate, parang pantay lang. Pag God kasi, kahit sabihin mo na minor lang yung cause ng anxiety at heighten yung anxiety mo, then at nangyayari yan for a prolonged period of time, chronic na, pwede nang generalized anxiety disorder yan. Let's say, for example, halimbawa, nag-review ka naman, okay, let's say, meron kang exam kinabukasan, nag-review ka naman, and then, nung tinignan mo yung exam, meron lang naman isang question doon na hindi mo pala na-review. Tapos nakaramdam ka na ng anxiety babagsak ka, babagsak ka, babagsak ka. So, it's not proportionate doon sa yung hindi proportionate yung anxiety mo doon sa cause at pag paulit-ulit na nangyayari yon for a prolonged period of time, then that is considered to be as a generalized anxiety disorder. Now, what are the probable cause? Okay, number one, pag biological. So, possible na nagkakaroon tayo ng dysregulation doon sa mga neurotransmitters. So, kagaya nga ng binanggit ko kanina, So, for example, imbalance in GABA, imbalance in serotonin, imbalance in norepinephrine, that can possibly lead to an anxiety disorder. Pag psychological naman, negative coping mechanism and childhood adversities. Experiences mo na pinagdaanan mo when you're still a child, mga traumatic experiences, and then yung mga stress na pinagdaanan mo noon na hindi ka nakapag-cope up. Okay? Hanggang sa paglaki mo, pagtanda mo, which in turn can cause anxiety disorder. Environmental, ayan na naman tayo, chronic stress. Okay, if you are stressed most of the time, Okay? Kagaya nga ng pinanggit natin with our previous discussion, stress can actually cause mental disorder, and one of those mental disorder is actually anxiety disorder. Okay? Exposure to trauma. Okay? Traumatic experiences can in the long run, pag hindi tayo nakapag-cope or hindi natin na what we call this, hindi natin nalagpasan yung experience ng trauma na yon, possible it will cause generalized anxiety disorder. Okay? So, what are the signs and symptoms? Ito, very common. Pag sa may general anxiety disorder, una, excessive worry or fear occurring almost daily. You always feel anxious. Okay? Lagi kang nagwo-worry, lagi kang takot, natitrigger yung worry mo, natitrigger yung fear mo, even with smallest things. You are restless. Okay? You always feel on edge. Okay? Fatigue. Okay? Fatigue and even difficulty concentrating. That is very common. Irritability and muscle tension. And of course, sleep disturbances or insomnia. Okay? So those are the signs and symptoms, classic signs and symptoms of a person suffering from generalized anxiety disorder. Now, ano naman yung management natin? How do we treat generalized anxiety disorder? For psychotherapy, pinaka-common na ginagamit dito yung ating cognitive behavioral therapy o yung CBT. Very common. Any mental disorder naman, ano? Usually, CBT yung ginagamit. In this particular therapy, ang ginagawa natin, we try to identify what is the trigger. Ano ba ang trigger ng anxiety ng ating pasyente? Then, we work around it. We work around the trigger to lessen the trigger, para maiwasan niya yung trigger. Ayan, ganun ano. So, when it comes to medication naman, pharmacotherapy, serotonin reuptake inhibitors, SSRIs, kasi sabi ko nga before, there is a probability na nagkakaroon tayo ng imbalances in our neurotransmitter, particularly serotonin. So, pwede sila mag-take ng SSRI to inhibit the secretion of serotonin. Okay? An alternative one is yung buspirone, okay, but only for short-term use. Okay, short-term use. Lifestyle modification, number one, stress management. Definitely. Kasi nga, one of the probable causes is stress. So, kailangan we know how to manage our stress. Relaxation technique, deep breathing. At saka kagaya ng binanggit ko, if you're feeling stressed, bitawan ng lahat, tumayo, maglakad-lakad. Okay, to relax yourself. Okay? And of course, kailangan meron ding regular physical activities such as exercises. Mag-jogging ka, mag-biking ka, you go to the gym. Ano? So, those are a good management for generalized anxiety disorder. Okay, now as nurses, ano naman ang role natin sa mga pasyente that are suffering from GAD? Okay, number one, encourage expression of fears and worries. Meaning, i-encourage mo yung pasyente mo o yung client mo na i-verbalize, sabihin sa'yo ano ba yung dahilan kung bakit siya nakakaramdam ng anxiety to identify the trigger. Kasi nga, one of the management sa CBT is identifying the trigger, di ba? So, as a nurse, encourage mo na ilabas niya yun. Ano? Pangalawa, teach relaxation techniques such as deep breathing. Ayun, baka one of the management is relaxation, di ba? So, as a nurse, turuan mo kung paano mag-relax ng pasyente. Deep breathing exercises, or just plainly watching TV or listening to music, take on some hobbies that I consider to be relaxing. Okay? Ano pa? Develop a structured daily schedule to reduce uncertainty. So, it means that tulungan mong gumawa ng schedule yung client mo para alam niya kung ano yung i-expect niya na mangyayari sa isang araw to reduce yung certainty. Okay? To reduce uncertainty na the uncertainty na yung para bang hindi niya alam kung ano yung possible na mangyari or baka lumabas yung trigger. So within that schedule, dapat naka-indicate din doon kung paano nyo iiwasan yung mga trigger ng kanyang anxiety. So, those are the things that we can do as nurses to help our client that are suffering from generalized anxiety disorder. Okay, now let's talk about obsessive compulsive disorder. So, ano ba yung ibig sabihin ng obsessive compulsive disorder? So, obsessive compulsive disorder or OCD is a disorder marked by uncontrollable, take note of the word uncontrollable, and recurring thoughts na tinatawag nating obsessions and repetitive and excessive behaviors tinatawag naman nating compulsion. So take a look at this illustration na pinakita ko dito sa ating presentation. You can see that a man is washing his hands. Okay? Washing his hands ng paulit-ulit. Bakit nangyayari ito? Kasi meron siyang obsession doon sa cleanliness. Possible ang germaphobe din siya, meaning pakiramdam niya laging madumi yung kamay niya. So obsessed siya sa paghuhugas ng kamay. Obsessed siya na malinis lagi yung kamay niya. So ang compulsion niya is paulit-ulit niyang gagawin yon. Okay? So I've encountered a patient like this before. Siya naman yung mukha niya, lagi niyang hinuhugasan yung mukha niya kasi feeling niya laging madumi yung mukha niya. So yun yung obsession niya. Gusto niya laging malinis yung mukha niya, laging naiisip yun na pagkahugas niya ng mukha niya and afterwards, nalinis ko bang mabuti yung mukha ko, then huhugasan niya uli. So obsession and compulsion. So that is obsessive compulsive disorder. Iba to doon sa obsessive compulsive o yung tinatawag lang natin na OC. Kasi yon, there are persons that are considered to be OC pero hindi sila ganun ka-excessive. In a sense na gusto lang nila in order yung ginagawa nila. But for obsessive compulsive disorder, medyo heightened yung kanilang obsession to the point that they want to repeat things. Okay? So yung compulsions na tinatawag. Okay, so what are the probable etiology or causes? Pag biological, merong hyperactivity in the frontal cortex natin, ano? Genetic, so there is pwede siyang mamana. Okay, so pag may family history, parents, especially if yung parents mo or kapatid mo, no, lalo na pag kakambal mo yan, merong OCD, possible na magkaroon ka rin ng OCD. Now, for psychodynamic theory, underlying conflict and even unconscious fear. Okay? Same as before then, merong mga stages ng development or conflict na hindi na-resolve na possible na mag-manifest into OCD in the future. Okay? So, what are the signs and symptoms? So, there are two major signs and symptoms. Una, there is an obsession. At pangalawa, there is an excessive compulsion. So, obsession is intrusive thoughts about contamination or harm. So, ganun yung obsess ka do sa possible contamination or obsess ka kay possible harm. For example, lumabas ka ng bahay. Okay, lumabas ka ng bahay and then naglalakad ka na and then naisip mo, nailak ko ba yung gate? Okay, nalock ko ba yung gate? Yun yung fear mo. Fear mo na hindi mo na ilock yung gate. So, anong gagawin mo ngayon? Babalik ka. Tapos, ilalock mo uli yung gate. Then, paglabas mo uli, after sometimes, isipin mo uli, nailock ko ba yung gate? Nailock ko ba yung gate? Then, babalik ko uli, then ilalock mo yung gate. Yun naman yung compulsion. Okay? Excessive, repetitious action. Ano? So, compulsion, excessive washing or cleaning, ganun din, kanina sa hand washing na pinakita ko sa inyo kanina doon sa may ating presentation, checking behaviors, repeatedly ensuring doors are locked. Yun, kamukha nga nung binanggit ko, mayat-mayat, chinecheck kung nakalock yung pintuan kasi hindi naman sa nalilimutan niya na nalock niya yung pintuan. Parang she or he has a fear lang na baka hindi niya na-lock yung pintuan. Yun yung obsession niya. And then, ang compulsion niya is paulit-ulit nang i-lock yung pintuan. So, another manifestation ng compulsion is counting. Yan, tapping, o kaya yung legs, yung parang nagjijiggle yung legs, okay, o yun yun, or arranging objects also in a specific order, that is known to be as compulsion also. So, dalawa lang ang signs and symptoms, excessive obsession and obsessive compulsion. Okay, so what are the management? So, ganun pa rin tayo, CBT pa rin, okay, cognitive behavioral therapy pa rin, with exposure and response prevention, ERF, to gradually desensitize individuals to their obsessions. Yung unti-unti mo siyang ilalayo doon sa obsession niya. Ganun yun. Ganun yung gagawin mo, unti-unti, i-desensitize mo. For example, let's say, hugas siya ng hugas ng kamay, kasi obsessed siya na yung kamay niya, feeling niya madumi. So, babawasan natin yon unti-unti pag syempre huwag bibiglain, ano? So gradual desensitization. Pangalawa, what are our pharmacotherapy? SSRIs pa rin para dun sa serotonin reuptake inhibitor natin. Okay? You also have your antipsychotics. Okay? So risperidone saka olanzapine. Those are common medication na binibigay sa merong OCD. Mga self-help strategies, relabel obsessive thoughts and focus attention on alternative activities. So, i-redirect mo yung kanyang obsession into something else para meron siyang ibang iniisip. Okay, for example, halimbawa, turuan mo na magbasa ng libro, novel, ganun, para dun siya nakafocus not on sa obsession niya. Okay, so as nurses, what are our intervention? So, number one, provide a structured schedule for activities. Okay, so pag mental disorder, ayan, lalo na kung anxiety disorder yan, we make a schedule kung saan pwede na, naka-indicate din sa schedule na yun kung paano natin iiwasan yung mga obsessive and compulsive activities. Okay, avoid interrupting compulsive behavior abruptly. Pag pag ano siya, pag inatake siya ng OCD niya, hayaan nyo lang. Okay, wag niyong biglang pipigilan. Let him do the obsession and compulsion, okay? Kasi nga meron naman tayong time na i-desensitize naman natin siya unti-unti, ano? So hindi naman natin siya totally na pipigilan na gawin yung kanyang obsession and compulsion, ano? Reinforce and praise non-ritualistic behaviors. Ibig sabihin, pag nababawasan niya yung obsession and compulsion niya, okay, so ipe-praise natin, babatiin natin para nakakaramdam sila ng sense of fulfillment na meron silang nagagawa to improve themselves. So those are the nursing interventions for obsessive compulsive disorder. Okay, now let's talk about phobia. Okay. So ano ba yung tinatawag natin na phobia? Phobia means fear, di ba? So a phobia is an intense or irrational fear of a specific object or situation or even activity that leads to avoidance behavior and significantly interferes with daily life. Yung takot ka sa isang bagay, takot ka sa isang sitwasyon, takot ka sa isang activity that will trigger an intense anxiety that in the long term can actually interfere do sa pang-araw-araw na pamumuhay mo. That is known as your phobia. Okay, so tayo naman, lahat naman tayo siguro may fear of something, but we don't consider it as phobia. Alam mo, takot ka sa gagamba, very common yan. Takot ka sa ipis, takot ka sa aso, that's very common. Pero kung yon ay nagkukos na ng intense anxiety, sometimes nga maisip mo lang, it will cause intense anxiety that can disrupt your day-to-day living. That is already a mental disorder. Okay, phobia na yung tawag natin doon. Okay, so what are the probable causes? So according to behavioral theory, classical conditioning, pairing a neural stimulus with fear. Yung bang, nung bata ka, let's say, lalagi kang tinatakot ng mga tao sa paligid mo, or halimbawa, nung bata ka, may nang bully sa'yo, na lagi kang tinatakot na, oh, may gagamba dyan sa tabi mo, okay, nilalagyan ka ng mga peking gagamba, okay, paulit-ulit yon. So, you are being classically conditioned to fear, to have a fear or irrational fear on spiders or gagamba. So ganun yun, ano, according to behavioral theory. Okay? Another one is neurobiological, so hyperactivity in the amygdala. Okay? So sa brain natin yun. So sa psychodynamic naman, repressed conflicts displays of the specific object or situation. Again, nagkaroon ka ng conflict with one of the stages of development that leads to a specific fear, okay, or phobia. So those are the probable causes. Okay? So, what are the different types of phobia? So, meron tayong iba't ibang klaseng phobia. Actually, napakadaming klase, ano? Especially yung specific phobia. Hindi ko na iisa-isahin yan kasi ang dami yan. So, pag sinabi natin specific phobia is fear of a specific object or situation. So, halimbawa, takot ka sa gagamba. That is your arachnophobia, di ba? Very common yan. Takot ka sa heights. Yan. Mga ganun, ano? Takot ka sa aso. Yon, mga ganun. So, those are your specific phobia. So again, kagaya nga ng binanggit ko kanina, normal na matakot doon sa mga ganung bagay. But if it causes intense anxiety, okay, that disrupts your day-to-day life, that is already considered to be as a phobia. Another type is yung agoraphobia. Agoraphobia is fear of being in a situation where escape might be difficult. Okay, for example, halimbawa, nakulong ka sa isang kwarto. Okay, or takot ka palang makulong sa isang kwarto kasi feeling mo hindi ka makakalabas doon sa kwarto na yung pag nasunog. Parang ganun, that's agoraphobia. Another one is social phobia. So, social phobia, fear of social situation. Takot ka makisalamula, makijoin, okay? Makijoin dun sa ibang tao. So, those are your social phobia. So, those are the different types of phobia. So, what of the signs and symptoms? Siyempre, number one dyan, avoidance of fear objects or situations. Hindi iwasan yung magkukos ng trigger ng phobia mo. For example, halimbawa, takot ka to socialize or meron kang social phobia, ano gagawin mo? Hindi ka lalabas ng bahay. Hindi ka makikipag-socialize. Okay, ganun yan, ano? So, physical symptoms, pag na-encounter mo yung phobia during the encounter of your phobia, so, nagmamanifest yung physical symptoms such as sweating, trembling, okay, dizziness, and even rapid heartbeat. Classical signs ng physical signs ng anxiety to. Okay? And the last one is anticipatory anxiety about encountering the phobic trigger. So, yung hindi mo pa na-encounter yung trigger mo, nakakaramdam ka na ng anxiety. Kasi iniisip mo na baka ma-encounter mo anytime. Parang ganun. Kaya siya, even if the object of your phobia is not yet present, you're already feeling anxious. Okay? So, what are the management? So, CBT, behavior therapy pa rin tayo, no? So, dito naman, systemic desensitization, meaning gradual exposure to the feared object. Okay, unti-unti natin i-expose yung tao na nakakaramdam ng phobia into a specific object. Let's say, for example, the patient is suffering from, let's say, arachnophobia. Okay, so gradually expose natin siya sa spider. Hindi yung spider kagad, ano? Pwedeng picture lang muna, and then pag nasasanay na siya, nakikita niya yung picture, pwedeng panoorin mo ng video ng mga gagamba, then pag nasasanay na siya doon, okay na, hindi na siya nakakaramdam ng takot. Pwedeng mga replica or toys ng gagamba, yung gano'n, ano. And then up to the point na yung real thing na yung papakita mo or ipapahawak sa kanya. So, yun yung systematic desensitization. Another technique na pwede natin gawin in behavior therapy is yung flooding. Okay, flooding, yung immediate exposure to the feared stimulus naman. Yung bibiglain mo siya. Okay, parang isang, ano na lang, isang, isang hirap na lang. Parang gano'n na. Parang halimbawa, meron siyang arachnophobia, o kaya, meron siyang fear of water. Okay, so ang gagawin mo, magsuswimming kayo. Gano'n, ano. So, parang i-expose mo kagad siya doon sa kanyang stimulus. So, for the medications naman, pwede siyang gumamit ng beta blockers o propranolol to alleviate yung signs and symptoms ng cardiovascular system. For example, yung increased rapid heartbeat. Yan, pwede yan. Benzodiazepines for situational phobias are also given, okay, for phobia. Okay, so as nurses, ano naman ang ating intervention? So, yun nga, ano, so gradual desensitization, encourage gradual exposure to the field stimulus of course, in a controlled setting, nabanggit ko na yan. And also, teach relaxation techniques to manage the symptoms. Kasi nga, pag nakakaramdam ng anxiety yung pasyente, may sweating, trembling, increase heart rate, increase respiration, increase blood pressure, ayan. So, pag na-encounter niyo yung phobia niya, turuan niyo kung paano mag-relaxation techniques, deep breathing exercises, yung mga ganun, ano, to alleviate yung symptoms, physical symptoms ng phobia. Okay? Okay, let's talk about naman yung social anxiety disorder. So, ito yung binanggit natin kanina na social phobia. So, ito rin yun, ano? Social anxiety disorder. So, ano ba yung tinatawag natin na social anxiety disorder? So, social anxiety disorder is the fear of social or performance situation where one faces scrutiny or embarrassment. So, kaya kasi tayo nakakaramdam ng social anxiety is parang naiisip natin na if we go out, we socialize, we talk to people, natatakot tayo na harapin yung scrutiny or natatakot tayo na mapahiya. Parang ganun, ano. Kaya to the point na hindi na tayo nakikipag-socialize. Sometimes, and when you are put on that situation wherein you're going to be socializing, nakakaramdam tayo ng intense anxiety. Okay? So, yun yung social anxiety disorder or yung social phobia nga. Okay? So, what are the causes? So, family history of anxiety disorder. So, possible kung meron kang kapamilya na nakakaramdam ng anxiety disorder, pwede mo itong mamana. So, it can be environmental. So, halimbawa, you are a victim of bullying before, embarrassing and humiliating situation when you are a child na nag-cause sa'yo ng trauma. So, it can cause a social anxiety disorder. Pag biological naman, overactive amygdala and even serotonin imbalances. Okay? So, what are the signs and symptoms? Fear of public speaking or meeting new people, obviously. So, ayaw mong nagsasalita sa harap ng maraming tao, ayaw mong makasalamuha sa mga bagong kakilala. Okay, so ano pa, avoidance of social situation. For example, ayaw mong umaattend ng mga party, ayaw mong umaattend ng mga social gatherings. So that is very common sa mga merong social anxiety disorder. Physical symptoms, blushing, sweating, nausea, or trembling. Siyempre, anxiety pa rin yan, ano? So, nagmamanifest pa rin yung mga physical symptoms ng anxiety natin when you are put on that particular situation, okay, social situation, ano? So, psychological symptoms, fear of embarrassment. Yan, yung natatakot ka mapahiya. Worrying for weeks before an event. Okay, halimbawa, let's say, merong social gathering or merong party. Malayo pa lang yun, kinakabahan ka na, natatakot ka na kasi you fear social interaction kasi. Okay? So those are the signs and symptoms. So what are the possible management na pwede nating i-provide dito? Una, psychotherapy, CBT. Okay? Focusing on challenging negative thoughts, social skill training. So, sa CBT natin, pwede rin natin dagdag dito yung desensitization, yung unti-unti mo siyang i-expose doon sa ibang tao para unti-unti ring ma-alleviate yung kanyang anxiety na nararamdaman. So, ituro din natin yung proper social skills para yung fear of embarrassment mabawasan. Sa medication naman, since that we are dealing again with serotonin levels, so SSRI, binibigay natin yan, benzodiazepines, short-term use, and of course, beta blockers, para naman doon sa physical manifestation, yung increased heart rate, ganyan, increased blood pressure, para mabawasan yun, ano? Lifestyle modification, mindfulness, and relaxation technique ulit. Anxiety yan, ano? So, pag anxiety, napansin nyo siguro, puro relaxation technique because it's very helpful. When a patient is experiencing anxiety, kasi lahat elevated, ano? So, para bumaba yung mga yon, kailangan matuto siya mag-relax. So, you teach relaxation techniques such as deep breathing exercises. Okay? So, as nurses, ano ang ating intervention? Again, gradual exposure to social interaction. So, proper social interaction, gradually i-expose natin siya para masanay. Okay? And of course, provide reassurance and encourage participation in group activities. Kasi nga, meron siyang social anxiety, ayaw niya nakikihalubilo sa ibang tao. But, as a nurse, i-encourage mo, i-reassure mo na okay lang yan. Okay? Hindi, okay lang yan. You join the group, you join the activity, nothing bad will happen. Okay? So, meron kang encouragement and also reassurance. So, those are the intervention na pwede natin i-provide to a patient that is suffering from social anxiety disorder. Okay, now let's talk about panic disorder, one of the most dreadful anxiety disorder. So, ano ba yung tinatawag natin na panic disorder? So, basically, panic disorder involves recurrent or repeated and unexpected panic attacks accompanied by persistent concern about future attacks. So, in order to understand panic disorder, define muna natin yung panic, ano? Ano ba yung panic? Panic is a sudden, overpowering fright or fear. Okay, yun yung ibig sabihin ng panic. Can you imagine na, na overwhelm ka, okay, or na overpower ka nung takot mo that causes you to panic. Okay, so that is known as a panic. Now, a person experiencing a panic disorder, okay, it happens repeatedly. Okay, at ang tawag natin doon sa repeated panic na yun are panic attacks. And a person is actually concerned, okay, very much concerned about future attacks of panic disorder. Okay, so what are the possible causes or etiology? Number one, dysregulation of the fear response in the amygdala. Kasi yung fear response natin nasa amygdala na yan, ano? So, if it is not regulated properly, nakaka-experience tayo ng uncontrollable fear, which can in turn cause a panic attack, ano? Psychosocial, so stress and also childhood traumas. So, nandun pa rin, ano? So, stress natin, if you're very stressful, so possible it can cause a sudden panic attack. Pag childhood trauma naman, same as before pa rin, pag merong mga situations or experiences na nangyari doon sa bata during childhood na unpleasant, it can cause panic disorder. And of course, genetic, family history uli. Pag meron kang family members, siblings na merong family history of panic disorder, possible magkaroon ka rin. Okay? So, what are the signs and symptoms? So, sudden onset of intense fear or discomfort. Yung bigla ka na lang natakot. Okay? Overpowering fear. Bigla ka na lang nagpanic. Okay? Nang paulit-ulit. So, physical symptoms. So, you have palpitations. Diba? Shortness of breath. Chest pain. Dizziness. Okay? Puro cardio yung apektado. Okay? So, next one is psychological symptoms. Fear of losing control or even dying. So, that is the classic signs of symptoms of a panic disorder. Okay, so what are our common management? So, CBT pa rin tayo, ano? So, for our CBT, try to identify kung ano yung nag-i-induce ng panic attack niya. Okay, ano yung naiisip niya, ano? Panic-inducing thoughts. Okay, so i-identify natin yan para when we know, pwede natin i-reduce. So, pharmacotherapy, SSRI, For long-term management, serotonin, bababa pa rin natin yan. Benzodiazepines for acute attacks. So, you must be noticing by now na parang magkakamukha lang yung gamot ng anxiety disorder, no? So, that's correct. Kasi mostly serotonin talaga yung pinabababa natin, no? Lifestyle modification. So, avoid caffeine and stimulants and even regular exercises for relaxation. So, yun yung mga possible management natin for panic disorder. So, as nurses, ano ang ating intervention? So, stay with the patient during a panic attack and offer reassurance. So, huwag mo iiwan yung pasyente. Pag naka-experience siya ng panic attack, doon ka lang sa tabi niya. Kasi nga, meron siyang sense of fear, ano? So, kailangan niya ng social support. So, doon ka papasok as a nurse. Okay? Pangalawa, teach breathing and relaxation techniques. Again, this is still anxiety. Meron pa rin mga physical manifestation yan. Para mabawasan natin yung mga physical manifestation, kailangan turuan natin ng relaxation techniques, breathing exercises. So those are your intervention for a patient suffering from panic disorder. Okay, now let's talk about the last one, the last type of anxiety disorder, and that is your post-traumatic stress disorder or your PTSD. So ano ba yung tinatawag natin na PTSD? So PTSD occurs after exposure to a traumatic event. Okay, if a person experience something that very traumatic na hindi maganda yung naging experience na doon, possible na mag-cause yun ng PTSD. So very common ito, nakikita natin sa mga sundalo, di ba? PTSD. Characterized by experiencing the event, avoidance of reminders, emotional numbness, and even hyperarousal is very common doon sa post-traumatic stress disorder. So, what are the possible etiology? Of course, yung trauma exposure natin. Ano, trauma exposure? For example, expose sa giyera or sa war, di ba? Kaya nga, very common to sa mga police at sa mga sundalo. Okay? Sexual assault, yung mga rape victim. Okay, rape victim or yung mga na-harass, biktima ng mga sexual harassment, especially mga babae, no? So, they are very prone na maka-experience ng PTSD. Yung mga survivor ng natural disasters ng, for example, tulad dito sa atin sa Pilipinas, very common ng bagyo, di ba? So halimbawa, bumagyo pagkatapos muntik ka nang mamatay dahil let's say bumaha, muntik ka nang malunod. Okay, so you might experience PTSD. Neurobiological dysregulated hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. So, serotonin pa rin, possible. Imbalances in neurotransmitters natin. Very common yan sa PTSD. Okay, so what are the signs and symptoms? Re-experiencing. Okay, so pag re-experiencing, parang nagpa-flashback yung traumatic experience. So, flashback, nightmares, binabangungot sila, and even intrusive memories. Minsan, matutulala na lang yan. And then, pag naalala nila, and then, mag-i-induce ng anxiety attack doon sa ating pasyente, ano? Avoidance. So they always try to avoid yung possible na reminder doon sa trauma nila. Okay, for example, halimbawa sa mga sundalo, ayaw nila lang nanonood ng mga war films kasi they remind them of their trauma nung active pa sila sa pagiging sundalo nila, ano? So emotional numbing, detachment from others or loss of interest. So it means that they try to detach themselves from people kasi natatakot sila that people might remind them doon sa trauma na na-experience nila before, which can induce an attack, okay, or an anxiety attack. Patient may also suffer hyperarousal such as insomnia, irritability, and even exaggerated startled response o yung madali silang magulat. Okay, so those are the common signs and symptoms of PTSD. Okay, so for the management naman natin, psychotherapy, so nandun pa rin tayo sa trauma-focused CBT and eye movement desensitization and reprocessing or yung EMDR. So desensitization pa rin. So as much as possible, we try to re-expose them gradually doon sa traumatic experience nila para eventually ma-overcome nila. Okay? Management, SSRI. Okay, SSRI uli tayo. And prazosin for nightmares. Ito lang siguro yung medyo na iba sa sa anxiety disorder natin. Pagdating sa medication, sila lang yung gumagamit ng prazosin because they are actually experiencing nightmares. And support system, family and community support, of course, number one. Okay, next one, what are our nursing intervention? Okay, number one, as a nurse, we have to create a safe and non-threatening environment. Okay, safety. Okay, pangalawa, encourage the patient to discuss the trauma at their pace. So, encourage natin magkwento yung pasyente tungkol sa trauma, pero wag natin pipilitin. Doon sa sarili nilang pace. Okay? Para malaman din natin kung ano ba yung mga possible triggers. And panghuli, identify and address maladaptive coping strategies. So, if they are experiencing stress or if they're experiencing anxiety at hindi effective yung coping mechanism na ginagamit nila, i-address natin yon. Meaning, we try to direct them into something that could consider to be as helpful or effective coping mechanism or coping strategies. So those are our intervention or responsibility as nurses dun sa nakakaramdam ng anxiety, PTSD. Now, in conclusion, about anxiety disorder. So, anxiety disorders are very complex mental health conditions that require a comprehensive approach to management, including psychotherapy, pharmacotherapy, and even supportive care. No, hindi lang naman kakayanin kasi ng gamot yan. So, sometimes nga, it is more important na mag-psychotherapy tayo, such as your cognitive behavioral treatment, yung mga ganun, And of course, kailangan may proper support system. So, nursing intervention, as nurses, we play a crucial role in helping patients regain control and improve their quality of life. Kasi most of the time, lalo na kung admitted yan in a mental health institution, nurses talaga ang mostly kasama niyan. So, dapat alam natin kung paano natin i-handle, paano tayo makakatulong para doon sa recovery ng patient natin. And of course, by understanding the specific characteristics of each anxiety, kaya nga inaral natin isa-isa, healthcare professional can provide tailored and effective care, which is specific doon sa type of anxiety disorder and even the type of patient and even the type of fear na nararamdaman ng pasyente. So, it's very specific talaga. No? Yun. So, that is anxiety disorder. So, thank you everybody for listening. I hope na meron kayong natutunan. So, till our next lesson, bye sa inyong lahat.